A lot of security matters tonight, obviously.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Good evening. Thanks for joining me this evening. Our guest is Timothy Egar, a cybersecurity expert from Brown University, whose visit last week fell short of the discussion of some of the ransomware problems that the world, a lot of the Europeans certainly experienced last week, 10 days or so ago. Tim was here to talk about a whole bunch of things security-wise and also what was happening in Washington with some of the goings on with the melodrama over Donald Trump. And he stuck around for an additional segment. So it's a visit from last week, but it's a brand new segment for this television show, and a rather lengthy one television-wise, to kind of talk to you about what the issues are revolving around cybersecurity and what we can do to protect ourselves from, getting hacked on our own personal computers and our businesses and all of that. So stick around for that. That comes up momentarily. It's a pleasure to have you aboard. Thanks very much for tuning into my State of Mind. Let's go to the rundown and see what's happening here. I mean, I hate to be casual going to the rundown when this story headlines it. I mean, I think everybody last night was just paralyzed by this. And of course, isn't that what the terrorists want? Paralysis of some kind? The headlines, as you see, are what they are. And of course, leadership is trying to put in perspective what this all means. Theresa May, the Prime Minister, spoke late this morning.
This attack stands out for its appalling, sickening cowardice, deliberately targeting innocent, defenseless children and young people.
You know, the amazing thing about this is that, or the difficult thing is that there is no, there are no words and there's no language that you can use to make it clear to those who would even think about doing something like this how bad it is, because they don't care about what you're saying. So if you're going to have a contest, or even in your own mind, if you're trying to reach for the language that ultimately makes them feel, what, some sense of guilt, it's not going to happen. Donald Trump tried.
I will call them from now on losers, because that's what they are. They're losers.
Again, I'm not going to criticize the president for that. I mean, he's reaching for language on a on a common ground basis that sticks. There is no language for these guys. And what's fascinating and ironic about this, as we look at some of the horror that was experienced in the arena last night after the show was over, the Ariana Grande concert. What's ironic about this is that ISIS is losing in its territories. It is losing ground. The anti-terrorism efforts by multiple nations is working. But what happens is that as that is working and as they're losing ground there, they're going to try to do this kind of stuff more and more. And intel's got to be important. And if you listen to some of the intel information today, I guess there was some social media warning about this hours before the event. Now, I'm not blaming anybody. Who could? But this is the kind of be on your toes type of stuff that the authorities are going to have to really, really pay attention to. How that impacts you going to a show here, I don't know. It doesn't. It can't. I understand if it might, where America hesitates to go to a show, or little girls don't want to go to a concert anymore. But we just have to keep carrying on and hope you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time as these guys continue to act out. I don't have anything else profound to say about it, neither does anybody else, other than the continued fight against ISIS, which is happening on the ground and succeeding on the ground. And this is some of the spillover that comes along with it. Evil finds a way, but good always overrides evil. Let's talk about what's happening in Washington here. So General Flynn decided that he was going to take the fifth, right? And the Washington Post headlines, we have a couple of them. And we have some discussion of it. And this is all about the details on what Flynn did and said. We have a package here that kind of explains the entire thing.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn is invoking his Fifth Amendment right, declining to cooperate with a Senate Intelligence Committee investigation into Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. The Associated Press reports Flynn's letter stressed this was not an admission of guilt, citing escalating public frenzy and the FBI's probe by a special counsel as reasons he's withholding the records requested. Republican Senator James Lankford tweeted, "It's Flynn's right to plead the Fifth. We will get to the truth one way or another. We need facts, not speculation and anonymous sources." President Trump has defended Flynn, encouraging him to seek immunity against what he calls a witch hunt. It's a different tone than the one he took with Hillary Clinton's staffers during the investigation into her private email server.
Her aides took the Fifth Amendment, and her ringleaders were given immunity. And if you're not guilty of a crime, what do you need immunity for?
While the Fifth Amendment protects Flynn from self-incrimination, it does not apply to documents. The Senate could hold him in contempt, prompting criminal charges. Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein called the move unfortunate but not unexpected, adding the committee would gain access to information by other means and the investigation will go on.
So you've got the president in the Middle East and now Italy, and you've got more stuff going on in Washington today where the Washington Post reports out that perhaps Donald Trump tried to influence others in the intel community to try to thwart the FBI's look into the Russia thing. So we've got those two things going on different sides of the planet. Donald Trump will have to come home and continue to face this kind of news cycle coverage. House Intel Committee hearings were going on as well. So there's a lot going on simultaneously for constituents to pay attention to. All right, let's come home and talk about this for just a second. The PawSox thing is becoming a real soap opera. And you really have to figure out who's got the juice and who really wants it. So here's the Valley Breeze headline that talked about the new site. There it is, kind of on the elbow of Pawtucket, you know, or I would say armpit, but that's a negative connotation, but literally right inside the 95 corridor. How cool would this be if you think the numbers are right, of course, for nighttime baseball, even daytime baseball, right next to the highway, and a whole economic development thing out of Slater Mill, right? So we've done a lot of conversation on this, but what's interesting is that it's kind of like a hot potato going on between the governor and the speaker, and to a certain extent, the Blackstone Valley delegation, if you will. The governor continually says the numbers look okay.
This proposal appears to me to be that the ballpark would pay for itself and would be self-supporting.
The House Speaker has repeatedly said that he expects, with the late timeline for the General Assembly session, which of course ends in June, and he wants to end it in middle June, that the governor has got to do all the dirty work on this thing and lay out a proposal that she kind of owns.
It's unfair to my colleagues or the public to start a process anew emanating out of Pawtucket. So I'm curious to see what the foundational work that's been done by the governor's office and the Commerce Corporation. If there is foundational work, we'll look at it.
So now you take a look at this headline today in the Providence Journal, where the governor has kind of backed off owning this PawSox Stadium proposal. She wants Pawtucket itself to do that. So last week, I talked to Mayor Don Grebian about whether or not he and the Blackstone Valley folks have the juice to, I don't know, supplant the governor in influencing the House Speaker and the General Assembly to take this thing up.
The governor, to her credit, has already come out and endorsed it.
But she's got to know every nickel and dime, I dotted, T crossed, and she's got to make it her own.
So, as you mentioned, the leadership comes from the city of Pawtucket, so that's why we're bringing our bond counsel in to finalize the legislation that the Pawtucket reps and senators will be introducing to the House.
So you think that I mean, Pawtucket's no small marble in this entire mix. Do you think the city's politics can have very strong weight on the General Assembly's behavior?
Absolutely, and I would tell you that when you look at it, it's more about the Blackstone Valley. So when you look at Mayor Murray, who was at this press conference with us, Mayor Diosa, Mayor Lombardi, Lieutenant Governor McKee, Attorney General Kilmartin, there's enough
You
of
think
people.
the weight of that is enough to make this thing move past the governor's exclusive endorsement?
Absolutely.
Well, it better be, because the governor won't endorse. You know, Don Grebian is suggesting that she's endorsed the idea, but the governor's own spokesperson said that she hasn't formally endorsed it, meaning she doesn't want to wrap her political capital, whatever she has dangling right here, around this thing, mostly because of the noise about the cost of this thing, and I think some of the hyperbole around the overall costs of it. Headlines like this or press releases like this from Brandon Bell of the state Republican Party, perpetually talk about the governor kind of doing the deal for the laborers, and they give political money to the governor, and so why wouldn't she support this? And she's kind of backed off of it because she's hedging her bets and doesn't feel necessarily that the public is all behind this. Why? Because a lot of private-public partnership worries come from the 38 Studios cloud that hangs over, and the Republicans are kind of exploiting that, and they have no new ideas to offer. So I'm not exactly sure where this whole thing is going to go. You might have a feeling about where it's going to go. Let me know. But I don't see why we can't support a well-constructed finance plan here that, for the most part, pays for itself and actually just goes to the existing protocol of tax revenues and how they already support state and Pawtucket money. Remember, we're already in the ball game. We're already in the ball game with the Paw Sox. It's very different from 38 and all those other things. All right, updates on that when we get. By the way, if you're looking for some sophistication in your financial world, Card Valet is a great way to go. Put all the information on all your finances right on your phone with an app called Card Valet through Navigant Credit Union. Check out navigantcu.org for more information, or stop into any one of their 15 branches. I just downloaded this Card Valet on my phone, and I will tell you, it is pretty fancy stuff. Remember, NCUA, Navigant Credit Union. All right, when we come back, a pre-recorded conversation, but a new one for you on ransomware with a cybersecurity expert. Stay with us.
Of our game be as aggressive as possible in protecting our networks and doing that we can to prevent these things from happening.
Congressman Jim Langevin, who has headed up kind of the cybersecurity, well, leads at least on the cybersecurity conversation in Congress, and always is talking to me about his worry about that. But we don't always have something tangible. Continuing with Timothy Egar from the Watson Institute, cybersecurity is his wheelhouse, man. Never mind the conversations we had earlier this week on President Trump, Intel, the Comey firing, and all of that. How worried are you about this ransomware thing that happened over the last week?
Well, it's certainly one of the biggest attacks we've seen, and ransomware is a growing problem. This is where your files get locked up, and then they demand that you give them $300 in Bitcoin to get them released or something like that. There's some basic things that people could have done to prevent this attack, but they just didn't.
Like?
Update your software. Make sure that you're using the latest version of something like Microsoft operating system. Make sure you've installed all the right patches. And back up your files. Make sure that your files are backed up to a separate hard drive that isn't always connected to your computer. And then also make sure you're not clicking on suspicious links, and that's important to understand how that works, that when you hover your mouse over the link that you can look at what the actual URL is. When you see an email message, don't look just at the name of the email, look at the actual email address that's coming from, because they can do things to make that look like it's coming from someone you trust. So there are some basic things that we could do, but obviously not everybody is doing them.
So there was more damage overseas than there was here in this, but it's kind of a widespread attack, and you get hospital files that are being shut down, and procedures that are being postponed, all the way down to just everyday people who just can't get their files up. Commerce is affected. Certain even an automotive plant had to shut down production. Was this, do you think, a planned attack in the sense that they know exactly who was going to get it, or does it have a random virusy type of flavor to it where you don't know, once they send it out, they don't even know where it's going to end up?
There's certainly a certain amount of opportunistic behavior on the part of these kinds of attacks, but we also saw them attacking people like hospitals or institutions like hospitals are going to have to pay up if they haven't done their cybersecurity practices ahead of time. And it's really the strategy of having an entire organization, making sure that they're not just looking at technical staff, but also managerial staff. It's the kind of things we talk about in Brown's Executive Master on Cybersecurity, putting the whole package together. Business, management, and technical side, legal side, working together to try to make your business more resilient against these attacks, and if you do suffer a breach, making it possible to remediate by the things that I talked about. One thing we haven't talked about is that part of the reason this was such a damaging attack is that the attackers were using leaked tools that apparently were developed by our own government for cyber warfare purposes.
Meaning what?
So the NSA and other agencies, but mainly the NSA, develop these sophisticated tools to hack into networks. They're supposed to be highly classified, obviously. And just recently, a group called the Shadow Brokers got a huge tranche of these tools. And apparently some of these had been used in this most recent attack. Hackers were able to look at the code or the tools and techniques that were leaked and make their attacks more effective that way. And that raises this whole question of kind of blowback. You know, our country is familiar with this from other kinds of intelligence operations where we do something, you know, we think for good reasons, but then there's an unintended consequence. And that seems to be happening on the internet these days when it comes to cybersecurity and our offensive cyber operations.
It's really baffling to the average knucklehead like me who doesn't really understand other than, you know, backing up some files and, you know, updating my software every once in a while. We really don't know what we're doing here.
It's a big challenge, and you know, I gave you some, I hope, some comfort with the idea that it isn't actually that hard to stop an attack like this, or at least to mitigate the effects. Ransomware is a growing problem, not just from this attack or from, you know, huge worldwide attacks, but just from, you know, targeted, you know, straightforward retail cybercrime. And you know, Langevin's been working on it. Our U.S. Attorney's Office in Rhode Island has been working on it. So the police are trying to figure out ways to help people address this problem. But you know, the best way to protect yourself is to practice some of these, you know, sort of common sense security practices of backing up your files and updating your software with the right security patches.
Who's doing this?
Well, we have a variety of people. We don't know who was behind this attack. Clearly it was done in part to just get money from this ransomware. So there's a criminal element to it.
But isn't it traceable? I mean, isn't the actual ransom itself traceable?
That's what makes it so effective sometimes, is that, you know, perhaps our intelligence agencies or sophisticated cybercrime unit in the Justice Department could, you know, do something to trace it back. But in many cases, it's hard to do that. The criminals may be overseas, maybe outside the jurisdiction.
But if they show up with currency, either Bitcoin or credit card numbers or something like that, somewhere along the line, they have to dispose of the loot, whether it be cyber loot or whatever.
Sure.
Eventually.
Well, I don't want to say that it's impossible. You know, the Justice Department has been doing a lot to try to, you know, lure cyber criminals to places where they can be arrested, to track, you know, exactly what you said, how they spend their loot. Most people that are acting as cyber criminals in Eastern Europe, for example, they don't just stay there. I mean, they want to go vacation, you know, in nice places in Europe or nice places in South America where we might be able to arrest.
I guess the dumb question that I have is, you know, in the old days, I mean, think about some of the heists, right?
Yeah.
You'd break into the bank, you would take the bags, and you could probably get away, and you know, organized crime did it for a long time, right? You could disperse your loot, so to speak, in a disciplined way, hide the money in the pillows and that kind of thing. But isn't it when you're generating you know, any kind of currency over the internet, it's got to be traceable, seems to me. Something has got to be attributed to that value, and there's got to be some kind of line to follow, isn't there?
Well, so Bitcoin is a sophisticated type of digital currency, and it's not that it's completely untraceable, but it is outside the financial system that, you know, has all the tracking that we expect from, you know, financial crimes and so forth. So it's a type of cryptocurrency. It essentially.
How do you spend it?
Well, you have to convert it into real money. But lots of people use Bitcoin for all sorts of legitimate reasons. So you don't know just because somebody's selling a bunch of Bitcoin for dollars or euros or whatever that they're necessarily got that Bitcoin in any criminal way. But yeah, that's the reason why ransomware typically asks for their for their ransoms in this cryptocurrency of Bitcoin instead of, they're not going to say, wire me this money in this account.
Are you worried at all that attacks like this can be ransomed not for money or payment, but for behavior, for acts? And has that become then a problem of state against state, holding people hostage or demanding some kind of release or change in policy or any of those kinds of things?
The closest thing we've seen to that is the attack on Sony by the North Korean hackers, essentially kind of saying, hey, you released this movie making fun of our leader, we're gonna hurt you by revealing all your confidential information from Sony Corporation. So we've seen something like that already. We haven't seen ransomware used in this way, at least on a big scale, but we certainly could. So that's why, in preparing for this segment, I was thinking about, are these definitely just criminals, or is there a state-sponsored element to this ransomware attack? The answer is we don't really know. I mean, it could be both. It could be that a criminal network has been successful in launching this massive ransomware attack, but that in the back pocket of some potential adversary of the United States, they're saying, hey, this would be a good way to attack the United States for some political motive.
Well, it seems to me that it's going to send a signal to corporate free world, let alone America, to really get their protections built in, and for us as individuals, as individuals, to really make sure that our the average new computer purchased is probably safe from this, but then you've got to update your antivirus stuff. Is that what it is?
That's exactly right. You update your operating system so that, because they continually are improving and patching those old flaws in software. So if you have a pirated version or an old version, you're very, very vulnerable. If you have an up-to-date version with all the security updates, you would not have been a victim of this attack.
So when your computer tells you you have an update waiting, take it.
Absolutely, but make sure that you've set it up so that those updates are validated properly. You shouldn't be responding to emails that say, we have some kind of antivirus software that we'd like to sell you by clicking on this link. So it's important to make sure that you're doing it within that program, that you're using the validated updates of Microsoft or whatever your software vendor is.
You got all that? Just another thing to worry about in modern life. Tim, thanks for the expertise. Appreciate that. Be right back. Just thought I would mention here, with the Celtics having won Game 3 of the series, that I've never seen a bunch of Celtics fans who feel so insecure about their team's potential success. Memo to the Celtics fans: they won Game 3 without Isaiah Thomas. Because they won Game 3, they can win Game 4 and 5 and 6. Not likely, but it can happen. Never seen so many people that are so down. Even Kevin.
No shot.
No shot, he says. You know what? That's why they play the game. Be right back. Tomorrow night, Jim Vincent of the NAACP, there's a study about the challenge of African Americans here in Rhode Island that's interesting, and he's under fire from some of his own members, so stay tuned for that, and don't forget, 3 o'clock tomorrow on WPRO. Tune in. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Have a great night.